Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, for 1 year as we read through St. Faustina's diary. Join me, Amy Thomas, each day for a short reading out of the diary which brought us a deeper understanding of Christ's divine mercy. Hello, Catholic pilgrims. It's day 44 of our readings from St. Faustina's diary. Today's show is sponsored by My Saint, My Hero. One of the great things about our Catholic faith is that we utilize sacramentals. And sacramentals are those objects that can draw our minds and hearts to God, to the Blessed Mother, to the saints. And many of the things that you can purchase at My Saint, My Hero are jewelry that can be used as sacramentals. You could have the blessed, and whenever you look at your wrist or your finger or around your neck, you can be reminded to maybe say a prayer to our Blessed Mother, or it will draw your mind to Christ, or to ask one of the saints for their intercession. So please be sure to check out My Saint, My Hero at www.mysaintmyhero.com. Okay, so today's readings are going to be from Notebook 1, numbers 138 through 144. And we get a little bit different side of Sister Faustina today. And when I was first reading through this book back last year, when I first got it and didn't make it through, this was a section where I did a lot of highlighting. So I'm excited to talk about it today. So let's get going. A great mystery has been accomplished between God and me. Courage and strength have remained in my soul. When the time of adoration came to an end, I came out and calmly faced everything I had feared so much before. When I came out into the corridor, a great suffering and humiliation at the hands of a certain person was awaiting me. I accepted it with submission to a higher will and snuggled closely to the most sacred heart of Jesus, letting him know that I was ready for that for which I had offered myself. Suffering seemed to spring out of the ground. Even Mother Margaret herself was surprised. For others, many things passed unnoticed, for indeed it wasn't worth paying any attention to them, but in my case, nothing passed unnoticed. Each word was analyzed, each step watched. One sister said to me, "Get ready, sister, to receive a small cross at the hands of Mother Superior. I feel sorry for you." But as for me, I rejoiced at this in the depths of my soul and have been ready for it for a long time. When she saw my courage, she was surprised. I see now that a soul cannot do much of itself, but with God it can do all things. Behold what God's grace can do. Few are the souls that are always watchful for divine graces, and even fewer of such souls who follow those inspirations faithfully. Still, a soul which is faithful to God cannot confirm its own inspirations. It must submit them to the control of a very wise and learned priest. And until it is quite certain, it should remain distrustful. It should not, on its own initiative alone, put its trust in these inspirations and all other higher graces, because it can thus expose itself to great losses. Even though a soul may immediately distinguish between false inspirations and those of God, it should nevertheless be careful, because many things are uncertain. God is pleased and rejoices when a soul distrusts him for his own sake, because it loves him. It is prudent and itself asks and searches for help to make certain that it is really God who is acting within it. And once a well-instructed confessor has confirmed this, the soul should be at peace and give itself up to God according to his directions, that is, according to the directions of the confessor. Pure love is capable of great deeds, and it is not broken by difficulty or adversity. As it remains strong in the midst of great difficulty, so too it perseveres in the toilsome and drab life of each day. It knows that only one thing is needed to please God, to do even the smallest things out of great love. Love and always love. Pure love never errs. Its light is strangely plentiful. It will not do anything that might displease God. It is ingenious at doing what is more pleasing to God, and no one will equal it. It is happy when it can empty itself and burn like a pure offering. The more it gives of itself, the happier it is. But also, no one can sense dangers from afar as can love. It knows how to unmask and also knows with whom it has to deal. But my torments are coming to an end. The Lord is giving me the promised help. I can see it in two priests, namely Father Andrzej and Father Sapotsko. During the retreat before my perpetual vows, I was set completely at peace for the first time by Father Andres, and afterwards I was led in the same direction by Father Sapotsko. This was the fulfillment of the Lord's promise. Yay! She finally got what she wanted from her priest. She was put at peace and finally got confirmation that she's on the right path. I mean, get a round of applause for that. But what I wanted to focus on today was what she says about love. One of the things that my husband likes to do in the military is he likes to ask kind of the new lieutenants, the new captains that are coming in. He asks them, "What do you want to do with your life? What do you see yourself doing?" And a lot of times, not many of them can answer the question very, very well. A lot of times they just say something kind of general and vague, like, I want to get promoted and do well in the Air Force. And my husband says, okay, that's good, but what do you see yourself doing? What's your game plan? How are you going to go about doing that? And they all kind of just look at him and stare, off into space, kind of, because they haven't really thought about it. And then he'll say, well, when you get out of the military, what do you want to do? And inevitably, most all of them will say, well, I want to do something big with my life. And my husband will always say, oh, okay, what big thing do you want to do? And they don't know. And I hear this a lot too. I'll often ask older teenagers, what are your plans? What are you thinking about doing, with your life? Is there a path you're, seeking to go down? Most always they'll say, well, I want to do something really big. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, what's the big thing? And they'll usually just say, I want to be famous. They don't tell me what they want to be famous in. They just want to be famous, which kind of makes me sad, because if that's all you are, if that's your goal, then, what's the plan? I mean, do you want to be a famous rock star? Do you want to be a famous actress? Do you want to be a famous scientist? If you don't know, how are you going to go about tackling that? But the thing is that so many of us get caught up in order to make something of our lives, we have to do something big. We don't know what that is, but we need it to be big, because really deep down what we're saying is we need recognition. We need the honors that come with something big. We need to feel like we've really accomplished something, like we've really done something with our lives. And the reality is that most of us are not going to be big time history book names. We're just not. I mean, there's 7 billion people on the planet. We're not all going to be noteworthy in the eyes of, the populace. And so I think this causes a lot of discouragement for a lot of people, because if they don't end up doing something big by the time they're 35, this kind of depression sets in where I haven't really done anything with my life, and then life kind of becomes mediocre. And she even describes it, a drab life and toilsome. We just do the same thing day in and day out. We're not doing anything big. I don't have anything to report back at my high school reunions. And so we just kind of become meh. But the recipe, no matter what you're doing in your life, is what she says here. It's always pure love. And she says pure love is capable of great deeds. But that doesn't always mean like great deeds like earth-shattering, get on the news, make it into the history books kind of deeds. What she means is can really save a soul. And nobody may ever know about it until you get to heaven. But we're so focused on the flashy, showy thing that we forget that every single day is an opportunity to love and love well. And that can be done in 1,000 ways. And she even kind of seems to reference, something that the little flower, St. Therese, would say, to do even the smallest things out of great love. Love and always love. And we so often forget that if we're doing chores, if we're mowing the lawn and we hate to do it, if we're going to serve the elderly at a nursing home and we don't really want to because we'd rather do something else. If we're, doing something with our kids for the umpteenth time and we really don't feel like doing it, if we do it with love, it becomes a great deed, because that person who is receiving it, it will mean something huge to them. And I think so often that we forget that. So those are the things that I highlighted, where she talks about pure love is capable of great deeds and it's not broken by difficulty or adversity. I think that's so important to remember. But the biggest thing I highlighted and kind of underlined is it knows that only one thing is needed to please God, to do even the smallest things out of great love. If we do everything in our life out of great love, even if we don't want to, that's when love shows up. Even if we're not wanting to, but we choose to do it anyway for God and for that other person, that is very significant. Very significant. And it makes our whole day fulfilling. It makes our whole life fulfilling. Every day we have the opportunity to do great things. We just have to remember it may not be great in the ways of the world, but it will be great in the eyes of God, and that is the most important thing, right, Catholic pilgrims? So I really like this passage today. I like hearing her talk about love and all of its benefits, and it's just a good reminder that our lives here can have meaning every single day, every hour of the day. We just have to choose love. So I will see you back here for day 45 of our readings from St. Faustina's diary. And until then, Catholic pilgrims, live the faith boldly and travel well.